things. And there was a light that just appeared right in front of me, a bright white light. Lord have mercy. So it's a positive energy, but you know, I don't like these things, you guys. I don't like these things. Anyways, so moving on. I have a feeling it was that lady I was talking about from the Mall of America. You guys, from my other channel, I was sent a package, and since I opened it, it was like my Christmas special here. I'm going to be showing it to you guys too. So the first thing I got was My Little Pony, the movie. It's like a pop kind of a toy. So this is what it looks like. Dark purple is my favorite. So I was like, how do they know? Anyways, I got this, and then they also sent me Hot Pot. So this is actually the Hot Pot soup base, and this is the hot flavor. And they were telling me that the Little Sheep brand is their favorite. So on my other channel, I'm going to be making this. Hopefully it's good, because I'll feel really bad if I don't like it. And they sent it to me. All right, so happy holidays to you and your friends and family. I hope everybody has been well since the last time I did the video. I know you guys want more videos more often, but I just don't have the time. Even doing this video, I'm like rushing to do this video. So just to let you guys know, brief overview before we get started. In this special, I will be talking about how to tell if there's a ghost following you. And a big question that was asked, and I don't know why I've never touched base on it, kind of like the transition into being a shaman. Like, what was it like the paranormal activity, the special gifts? How was that actually developed over time? So we'll be getting into that in this video. And for the record, I am wearing my ugly Christmas sweater. I've worn this before, but I only wear it when I'm doing laundry and I have to film. But I've washed everything, so I have to wear this. And then my makeup is all extra because it is for Christmas. Now, a lot of people always wonder, like, how can you tell if you have a ghost following you? The biggest dead giveaway are your dreams. When you start to have sexual dreams, and I'm being serious here, a lot of people, they'll have dreams of like this super hot person in their dream, and they keep having sex with them. Somebody who's always courting them in their dreams, you know, like always trying to woo them, get them away from whoever they are in real life with. That is a dead giveaway. You have a ghost following you. Like, you know, a lot of people, they don't believe that, but there is an actual individual who wasn't really into the whole shamanism thing, but they were going to have a ceremony done, and it was kind of like pushed on them. And I remember we were talking, and I said to him, you keep dreaming about having sex with this woman. And he completely like flipped out because he didn't realize I knew that. And I'm like, that's who we need to get rid of, you know? And then when I actually did the ceremony, he told me that he almost started crying. And this is like a super serious person. And this individual had told me that they almost started crying because when I got rid of it, he felt it leave. And then he felt like scared and like alone. So that's a dead giveaway, you guys, if you have those kind of dreams. I'm sorry. It's not normal to have those kind of dreams. People are just not that perverted, okay? I mean, everybody's kind of perverted, don't get me wrong. We're going to move off from this subject now. So this part I'm going to say, you guys, I hate it because people used to always ask me it and I didn't know what they were referring to, right? So it's basically, do you ever feel like you're not alone? I don't know. Like, so the problem with that, I'm sorry, there's like a piece of hair. I can see you right there. Okay. So the problem with that, you guys, with, you know, like if you are, do you ever feel like you're alone? Like, I used to hate it because I'm like, explain to me what that feels like. And then I guess the easiest way is, you know, like if you're sitting in a room with like a sibling or just like an aunt or uncle, somebody, anybody, right? Even a stranger. Literally, you two are the only people in the room. It is that feeling. And, you know, that is the feeling. I still questioned it though, because I was like, what? Like, because I had spirit guides. So I always felt spirits in general and I would see them. So I'm kind of like, you know, like, but I would hate that question because I'm kind of like, well, how do you know if they're following me or if they're just in that room, right? So that goes in hand with, you know, like when you go to like certain houses and all of a sudden you for no unexplained reason, you start to become very, very afraid in that room and you just bolt out, right? That happens to me a lot. I'm just saying, like, in case that doesn't happen to anybody else. But there will be nobody there. But then all of a sudden the hair, sometimes it's not even that intense where the hair behind your neck stands up. It is literally just something very, very scary starts to come over you. It starts to feel really creepy. It could be broad daylight. The room could be really nice looking, but you start to get this creepy feeling and you just start running really fast. Like, that is a dead sign that there's something in that room. Now, that doesn't mean that it's actually following you, though. It just means that there's something there and you're becoming very aware of its presence. So don't automatically assume if that happens, like, you're just sitting in a house suddenly and you feel that. That would be more so if you feel that more often, especially when you're by yourself and you start to feel it. A lot of times, if a ghost is following you, it will try to reserve and save its energy for when you guys are alone. Versus if you're with a bunch of people and you're having a good time, or even if you're not having a good time, but you're with a bunch of people, they are not as most likely to come out. So that is tend to be reserved more for when you guys are alone. When you are alone and that ghost is following you, if there is one, that's typically when you'll feel the energy and everything like that. Now, some more advanced levels of finding out if there's a ghost following you, basically black shadow people. And I've mentioned in other videos about sometimes you see them and they're just kind of like in their own loop and they're not even aware of you. Okay, these type of black shadow people I'm referring to, though, they are aware of you. So what would always happen to me is I would see literally, like, it's like it happens in my peripheral vision. So I will literally like be putting on a shirt or something and I'm just like looking at the ground as I'm getting ready. And then in the corner of my eye, I'm home alone, I will see a black figure of a person and the person will keep like looking at me and then going back up against the wall and then like looking at me again and doing that against the wall. So they would keep doing that and that was very annoying. But that is when they're interacting with you. So that is another dead giveaway that something is following you. So if you just see it in passing and then you look again and you're like, oh, nothing was there, maybe just probably tricks with the lights or something like that. I'm just gonna say this, like, a lot of people who say that it's probably just a trick of the light or something, maybe something else reflected off of that. Typically, your first instinct isn't going to be like, oh, there was a person there or something was there, right? Unless, in general, you are a very suspicious person. But, like, even for me, even though I'm aware of this whole part of my life, I don't go around looking for a ghost at all times. Like, I pretend I'm normal. Like, literally, that's what I do, you guys. So it's like, even if I see it in flashing and then I'll look, of course, because it caught my attention, but 10 out of 10 times it's going to be a ghost that was there. And it's just most people, they don't just walk around looking for things like that, and so like when it does happen, it's just a quick glimpse. However, when it's something that's following you directly, it will keep happening and you will see it often. You will see it no matter where you go, whatever building, whatever place. It could be outside, it could be inside, it could be nighttime or daytime. You will see it all the time. So that's a dead giveaway. Other big ones, if you hear a voice calling out your name, I actually do that. That actually happens to me a lot, even though nothing is following me. I will constantly hear it though, because there is a ghost trying to make contact with me. So it will just be the most random thing. And even like, there'll be times where I'm at work and I'm in a meeting and then I'll just start seeing this face appear in my head. And it's actually a ghost that's there and it's trying to get my attention, but I'm not looking at it. And I can cut down to every detail, every wrinkle on that face, but it is a person I've never seen before. And, I tend to just block it out a lot. So, yeah. You guys are all probably like, this girl, is she just focused and honed her gifts? I spend my energy at my work for my career, my friends and family, and then YouTube, you guys. Now, the biggest giveaway for people, if you are a person who can actually interact with spirits, you will see it following you. Kind of like that girl. So, that girl, I have not seen her in a long time in my apartment building, but You can yell at it. So if you're trying to figure out ways of getting rid of it, sometimes you can just yell at it and get rid of it. However, if it's been with you for a very long time, I'm talking years, you will need a ceremony to actually get rid of it. But typically, if you just notice something keeps following you and it's just pretty recent and it just keeps happening, a lot of people will just yell at it and it'll go away. Same thing with some people they will literally like have Thai pepper that's dried, and then they'll like roast it and then smash it up so it's a fine powder. They will literally throw it all over the air because ghosts don't like that either. I don't think that's real, but I'm just saying. Um, I believe it's real to the ghosts back in like Thailand or Laos or China. I believe that's real because I mentioned in another video about like being here like in America, a lot of things have changed from being back in the old land, and that's why we have the new age shamans versus the old age shamans. So I think it worked back then because the types of ghosts that would come out very demonic. They were much stronger and much more in your face than they are here because everything here is very modernized. So very interesting. So I don't believe in the pepper thing. If a demon was there, the last thing I'm gonna grab is pepper flakes. Okay, I'm gonna eat the pepper flakes before I throw it at a demon. All right, so those are pretty obvious signs. Hopefully that helps you guys. There's a lot of like gray spaces in between that, and it's really just going to be, you really just have to ask yourself, is it really affecting your life? Yes, it is not a good thing to have something following you in general, but there's people who just don't care. Like, they're not going to make a big deal about it. I was that person for a long time. I just didn't care. Yeah, I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the people who would be able to help me easily get rid of it. It was a huge ordeal to try and take care of it. So I just didn't care. I went on with my life just fine. Michael, for instance, nobody could help me for a long time anyways. So, and then also, if you are somebody who has the resources to probably get it taken care of pretty easily, seek help. Just strictly ask a shaman. They will be able to tell right away if they go into the spirit world, etc. So those are like the key things you really want to ask yourself. Like maybe it's obvious that you always have these sexualized dreams. And typically it happens a lot to like people who are depressed or they have wishful thoughts. So it's just really going to be, how important is it to get rid of it for you? If you like these dreams, you don't want to get rid of it, you may never go and seek help. Okay. And that's just it. And I do believe that it is true, once something is gone from you, you no longer have those sexualized dreams. Like that for me anyways, that happened. After Michael was gone, I didn't have those dreams at all anymore. Only if like there's another big demon who's trying to follow me, they will try, kind of like the whole sleep paralysis thing, where they're trying to climb on top of you and do all this crazy stuff to you. They will try, but then I become aware it's a demon. So it's very different. Keep that in mind. Now, before I go into my last part of my question for my video here, a quick story. One time I was at the Mall of America, and this is when I was a practicing shaman. And it was the weirdest experience I've ever had. So I was literally at the Mall of America, and I was with my ex at the time. And the Mall of America, if you've never been there, is basically a huge mall, and there's tons of people everywhere, right? And I'm getting off of the escalator, and I'm walking, and straight ahead of me, there's like a bunch of other people crossing between me, and there was this woman standing at the end there. And the woman was staring at me, and she was just like smiling. Like she had the biggest smile on her face, and she was so happy to see me. And this voice told me she knows. Like she knows that I was a shaman and that I was practicing and I was doing all this stuff. And I remember I just stared at her like, oh my God, like she can see me and she knows that. I know that she knows. And then I turned around to tell my ex because he was coming up the escalator after me. And when I looked back, she was completely gone. So she was, I have a feeling that she was an older she had Native American genes in her, but she was an older white looking woman. I can't really say she was white, but because I don't know, but she had that appearance that she was. So it was just very, very crazy. Like to this day, like it's just absolutely crazy that I ran into another individual who could tell like the way I could tell, and it just feels so good. Okay, like to know that you're not crazy, especially when you can connect and there's that link there. Like that is amazing. All right, sorry, my phrase just kicked on. Okay, so last part of my video here. What was it like transitioning into becoming a shaman? So for me, and this is really just my own experience. Every shaman is going to be very different, mostly because I don't know many shamans who have a very easy journey. Most of them, they're struggling the whole time. And with their struggles, it leads them to become very suspicious and doubtful of a lot of things. And there was a light that just appeared right in front of me, a bright white light. Lord have mercy. So it's a positive energy, but I don't like these things, you guys. I don't like these things. Anyways, so moving on. I have a feeling it was that lady I was talking about from the Mall of America. Anyways, so we're gonna talk about something else now. I'm such a scaredy cat. Jeez. This is like, I feel sometimes like I have like split personalities. Like the real me is the scared one, and then the one who's gonna go and kill demons is a totally different persona. It is this other woman who is like super warrior, and I'm just like, like just take care of it now. Seriously, that is what happens when you guys are the new age type of shamans and you have both types. Because I always talk about the Zhuzheng, which are the ones who are really good at killing demons, and then the Peng Shanning Shao, who are very scared. They can see the future, they're very clairvoyant, but they can't kick anyone's ass. I'm trying to calm myself down now. Okay, so the whole transitioning. I remember the most when I was going to become a shaman. I thought I was going to die because I thought that like demons were gonna possess me and I was not gonna be the same person. So I went to the extreme, and that's exactly what I thought was happening if I become a shaman. So when it actually happened, though, it was a lot. It was intense, but it was totally different because I was thinking that I would lose consciousness and they would take over and do everything for me. No, you are completely aware. And a lot of people end up struggling because they keep that awareness more alive and awake than letting it go and letting the spirits actually doing it, because they're thinking about it too much. Like literally go on your journey. If you're a practicing shaman right now and you're struggling, go on your journey and don't think about anything. Nothing. Don't think about anything. All right? Literally, don't think about anything. And then whatever crosses your mind after you stop thinking about anything, that is your spirits. Okay? Like, I can't stress that enough to people. Because then people will like, they will literally think of something, but then they're like, oh, I'm probably just thinking about it. Like, I can't help you no more. Like, literally think of nothing, and then the spirits will come and the spirits will tell you what they want you to think. I understand the whole lack of trust and everything though in yourself and the self-doubt though, because that was me at one point. So anyways, so once that kind of passed, where I realized I was really in control still, and it was a force still for me. It was a force that I knew what they wanted from me. And even if I was doing it wrong, I would still do it until they yell at me. So there is that. You could do that, what I did. Because if they strongly are against you doing something, when you are starting, it's a learning process. You don't know if you're doing it right or not, so just do it. They will let you know. Believe me. They will either come in a dream, they will yell at you right then and there, or you'll go into physical pain. And that's when you'll know, okay, that wasn't what I was supposed to do. They don't want me to do that. So keep that in mind. Now, as far as like abilities, okay, so like Shy, that part. Again, I mentioned in another video, like my teacher didn't teach that to me at all. It was either a gift you were going to have or you weren't. So it wasn't like my teacher was going to teach me how to shy because I either was going to know it or not. And some people, spirit guides, don't have that ability. So for me, somebody came literally in person and I was like, because I'm like, am I supposed to practice doing this before I actually do it for a real person? There is no practice, you guys. So literally I was like, okay. And then like the whole gifts thing, you develop it over time. It is not super intense all at once. Even me as a kid, talking to ghosts and stuff like that, it was developed over time as the years went on. It wasn't like, bam, they're like in my face. The nightmares, it was in my face, and like the demons, they were in my face. But a lot of the spirits who would come and talk to me in another language, on my other channel in that long video about Michael the Demon, I had talked about when I was a kid, what would happen. Like I would get this feeling that I have to go and be alone. And this is like before Head Start. Head Start is like preschool, right? So literally I would get this feeling that I needed to be alone. So I would always go and like sit in the sun, and we have like a 3-season porch, or was it 4-season porch, or else I would go into one of the spare bedrooms and then I would sit there and be alone. And then all of a sudden the spirits would come and sit around me in a circle, and then they would just come through me and start talking. So I developed that at such an early age because it was happening since I was a baby. So that and then like there were always people sitting around and talking to me, but these were like adults though, but they weren't like real people. And they would always like point and tell me things. And so it was like a lot of that, those kind of abilities that I have, and reading people really well and knowing things about them really well, that was developed since I was a kid. So for shamans who didn't have any of that happening to them and then they become a shaman, they have different expectations, because I was the same way. I thought that as soon as you become a shaman, like boom, you're like this powerful shaman, right? Because those are the shamans I've only ever seen at ceremonies. These were already developed and established master shamans, for years. These aren't like fledgling, starting off, struggling shamans that I actually witnessed and saw all these people going through. So there's that huge stigma because people don't talk about the struggles and the mental health of shamans. People just don't, because for our older generation, their parents never talked to them about the mental health of a shaman. So it's just, their response was always, you'll just understand it. You'll just get it. You should just know, you're a shaman. Well, what do your spirits say? But then you're sitting there like, I don't know if it's the spirits. So it's very different, you guys. And now, like when you're a younger generation and you're going through this and you're like, like this is crazy. So people expected that as soon as you become a shaman, you're going to have like all these amazing gifts. And then you're going to be a 5-year shaman, a master with all these students. It's nothing like that. Nothing. Like, honestly, I think I just had an easier time because a lot of these things had happened to me when I was younger. And the shy thing came really naturally, because what happens before I was a shaman and I would like talk to somebody or look at somebody, I would know certain things about them, but and I could tell what kind of person they were, etc. But when I became a shaman, I would hear a voice and it would be deeper than what it used to be. Like mine would just be like a glimpse into like their chipu, which is like their personality, who they are as a person. But when I became a shaman, a door opened and the gift became a lot easier, where I saw their timeline. And then this is literally what it's like, you guys, when you go shy. So when you are a person who's looking into someone's life, this is what happens. When you go, it's literally like the heavens, the universe opens up this door and you see everything that happens in their life. Everything. Every single day. Every single hour, anything that ever happens to them. And think of all the times you get up to brush your teeth, shower, put your shoes and clothes on to go to work, and you're driving and you're sitting in traffic, and then you might eat something, you might eat a snack, and then think of how many times in your life you do that. Okay, so then imagine I'm seeing all of it. all of it. Like, I was looking at one of my younger sisters. I saw her always going to school, always sitting at lunchtime, always around her friends. It was just, it's like super fast and intense. And then you need to zone in and look for what you're looking for. And then you zone in and then you see it. And then they show you all of this extra other stuff. And then, bam, they bring you back and they close the door. And then you're sitting there like, oh my God, I have to remember everything I just saw. And then you're trying to say it as fast as you can before you forget it. So that is what it's like. Y'all, it ain't easy, you guys. It's not like I could record it. So, that's why it's so important if you go and see a shaman, especially in person, you try to ask as many questions as you can as soon as they come back down, because they can forget it. The person can forget it, because I have my own life and my own worries and my own memories. Okay, I'm not going to sit there and remember everything about your life. Now, I was raised really fast. I became a full-fledged shaman it would have been less than 3 months, but my teacher was pushing me to wait because it was not natural for somebody to raise so fast, like within a week. It's like, we're ready. Okay, and then another week, we need our new shrine, we're ready. So my teacher was very, very suspicious because she didn't want to just automatically raise me because my spirit guides were demanding it, because she didn't want to become a bad teacher, because she needed to know for sure that I knew what I was doing, because once she raises me to my final level, I was on my own. So it was just, I was very different, you guys. So it's kind of like watching grass grow, like the more you keep looking at it, nothing seems to change. But once you forget and you let go of like the stress of, I need to learn how to do this, I need to know how to do this, how come I don't have this ability, how come I don't understand this ability, and they told me I was supposed to get this, but why don't I understand it? Once you let it go, all of a sudden you'll look back 6 months, a year from now, and then you have developed and advanced that ability. So that is what it's like, transitioning from a normal person into a shaman. And remember, again, I had to bring in all this extra stuff in this conversation because a lot of this stuff was happening to me when I was a kid, because it was spilling over into my life because I wasn't accepting it. And I was a kid, so I didn't understand it. But it's different too. Like, how people might wonder, like, how come I didn't go crazy? Like, because most people would probably go crazy. It's very different because, okay, very briefly, I've explained everything. When a shaman enters the spirit world, I've mentioned that normally they have 1 or 2 people who lead them in the spirit world. And they point out everything. They tell you and explain everything. Okay, that is your main leaders. It's kind of like your right and left hand man, right? So, and then the rest behind you are all of your spirit guides. And then you call on them when you need something. So when I was born with these individuals already always around me. So, when people ask me, like, do you feel like you're not alone? When they were asking me, like, I was trying to ask, this is before I was a shaman. I was asking, how can you tell if there's a ghost following you? And they were like, well, do you feel like you're not alone? And I'm like, but does that mean these people are ghosts? Like, it was just because these spirits were literally with me when I was born, and they were always with me. So they were always explaining things to me already, even though I didn't have a shrine. And remember in my last video how I was telling you guys about, like, people who accept being a shaman internally, but they don't have a shrine and they haven't started on their journey yet? That was me. Literally. Like, I didn't want the whole tradition on me that I needed to, like, host ceremonies and I needed, like, all of these different things, right? Like, I literally just want to be my own person and run wild and just be crazy and just be me, But with the whole thing, with the shaman thing, and people always ask me, why did I quit being a shaman? There is so much pressure on you to always be perfect, to always be right. But everybody around you is evil as heck. So it's just, and all they want to do is just use you, so they can get their own gain. And so it was just, I was so tired of it. I was so tired of being put on this pedestal when I just want to be me. And I only want to have friends who I know is my true friend, not because they're trying to get something out of me and because they're afraid of me. I had friends who became afraid of me when I became a shaman, but they didn't understand that I was already this crazy person before I became a shaman. And so the individuals who were born with me, they're always with me, you know? And so even though I didn't have an actual shrine and I wasn't hosting real ceremonies and people weren't hearing about me, I was already a shaman, but I didn't have that traditional structure. So you could say that you're a shaman, you know? So like when everything kind of built up where I was holding it all in and I was trying to like be cool, you know, and then finally one day I just looked at everything I had accumulated and I was like, I don't care about any of this. I don't care. And then that's when I went to my spirit guides and I told them this is what's going to happen. And then they knew this is what I needed. So then they allowed me to take my shrine down and I closed my doors and I just walked away from everything because it's not worth it. Yo, it's not. Okay, like now I live such a different and amazing life. It's just I'm like it's so much better than what it was. And before what I thought I had was amazing. I thought it was. But then now that I walked away from all of it and I let it all go and I'm just like incognito for a long time and it's so life-changing to me. It's what I needed. So even though in the future, yes, I'm going to become a practicing shaman again, I'm not going to be the traditional old way I used to be, you know, with like the goat horn and everything. And you don't wear a goat horn, just to clarify. It sits on top of your shrine. So, you know, it's just, I'm going to be a totally different type of shaman. And it's not going to be who I was with my old teacher. So that is the life I need for myself. And, you know, a lot of people would ask, you know, you seem to understood so much about the shaman world and you had a lot of people and blah 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 and the respect and all. It's not worth it at the end of it. So there are some evil cricket people out there and I just don't care. I just don't care for any of it. And it's just like people who crave and just want power and all they do is come to you to find out how they can get more power. I don't care. Like that's not my problem. You can crave and want all the power you want, but I know you will never get it. So I don't care. So that's the honest truth. Everything out there, why I walked away from it all, because there's just a lot of very dark parts of the shaman world that I don't want to be a part of. And now I am so happy doing what I do and being the kind of person I am. And my spirit guides really saw that I needed that. And that's what I needed. So, this was a very long video, you guys. All right, you guys. So that's it for this video. I will try and write down more questions as time goes on and I will present another video. I swear in the back of my head I knew what my next video was going to be about. Can't really remember it now, so it'll be a surprise next time, you guys. Happy holidays to you guys, and if I don't see you guys around the new year, Happy New Year!